Hey guys, today I'd like to take a look at another mask in a trio of masks which I featured in a previous video. I featured the first of the trio in that video, and I'd like to take a look at the second of this mask trio, and that is the 2012 Don Post Glow Skull mask. Now this mask is part, as I said, of a trio of masks. And the trio of masks is the re-release of the Don Post Halloween 3 mask trio from the movie Halloween 3. And now the trio consists of, as I said, 3 masks. I featured the pumpkin mask in a previous video. And this is the second. This is the skull. There was also a witch in the Halloween 3 movie. Another Don Post mask. Now the pumpkin, as I mentioned in that video, was a new mask for the movie, but this one, as was the witch, was actually an existing Don Post mask, and it is, of course, the ever popular and widely seen and widely known, and plenty of copies were produced of the skull mask. Now, I will not even attempt to give you a history lesson on the Don Post skull. If you want a fairly comprehensive history, there is a thread which I'll put a link to in the information of this video on the Halloween Mask Association forum, the HMA forum. This is a thread by Crimson Ghost, and this is a really comprehensive thread, a great history lesson in the skull mask, and I'll touch on some aspects of the history a little bit, but I'm just going to focus on this mask itself in this video. And so, as most people know, 2012 was the last year for Don Post Studios. They closed shop in 2012, and the reissue of the Halloween 3 mask trio was one of the designs that never, or the trio were designs that actually never hit the retail market. They were just done in the first run of samples. Now, so it's unknown the quantity that were made of some of these 2012 masks, and this is the same sort of unknown quantity mask as all the others that were produced in 2012. The thought is that the quantity is in the dozens. So, you know, that's pretty vague, of course, and nobody really does know the quantity. But it is somewhat limited, and there's only obviously a finite amount of these. And so I think that they really are modern classics, if you will, because they are Don Post masks, they are Halloween movie masks, and again, they are of a limited quantity. So I would recommend trying to get this mask trio into your collection. So one of the things that many people have said about the Halloween 3 reissues in 2012 is that the quality was very poor. And that they were very distorted, and you know, some of the paint was pulled away because they were just thrown in boxes and stuck together. As you can see, the quality on this one is fairly good. Really don't have too many problems with it. It does have some of the distortion in the back here that you can see. I probably could work on it more to make it more smooth on the back here, but I think it displays well from the front. I'm not all that obsessed with making the shape exactly perfect in the back, but you can see it's fairly. It's a fairly good copy compared to some that I've seen that are very distorted in shape. And so this mask itself is very, very similar, if not identical, to the 1976 skull mask sculpt. So the original mask, the original skull mask, was a Pat Newman sculpt in 1967, And then it got some resculpting, particularly in the teeth. You can see some changes in a 1976 resculpt of some of the, I think it was really just a retooling or a refreshing of the sculpt. And this is detailed in the Crimson Ghost's skull thread on the HMA, so I won't try to, again, pretend that I'm an expert on the skull masks. But there was then another touch-up of the sculpt in 1977. But as I said, this one looks virtually identical to the 1976 sculpt. And they did use the 1976 sculpt in the Halloween 3 movie. Here you can see that movie poster for the movie Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. And I have looked at photos of the 1983 mask, which will just show a photo of the 1983 Don Post catalog showing these masks, which were released in '83 as part of the Halloween 3, the 1982 Halloween 3 movie masks. And I've looked very closely at the photos, and I believe that this is the same sculpt. I don't know. I'm assuming they made a new mold, but it looks very close, very identical to the 1983 sculpt. So I don't think that they resculpted it. I could be wrong about that. If anyone knows, please let me know. But it looks to be the same sculpt. One thing that is different is that all of the copyright information that's normally on these skulls here next to the slit in the back is missing. So that was all removed or filled in from the back. It has no markings on the mask itself, but it does have the Don Post tags on it, the Halloween 3 movie tags. All three masks have the identical tag on it. It doesn't say skull specifically on this. Also has the silver shamrock tag that came with the Don Post Studios masks. And this is cast in fairly thick vinyl, black vinyl, and it is painted in a fluorescent paint, so it does glow in the dark, which is kind of nice that it's a glow skull. Here you can see the catalog from 2012, and it is called the 2012 Halloween 3 Season of the Witch Glow Skull Mask in that 2012 catalog. And as I mentioned, the vinyl skulls were, as far as I know, available from 67 to 83, and then after that, they produced skulls in latex. And I do have one of those latex skulls. It's not, certainly not the greatest looking mask in thin latex, but it is nice that these were done in vinyl. And as a matter of fact, in recent years, 2014, Trick or Treat Studios has also released the Halloween Mask Trio, the Skull, the Pumpkin, and the Witch. So they are still available now, brand new, but again, you can find these, the 2012 Don Post versions. As I mentioned in my previous video, the prices are kind of high in my opinion for the sets that I see on eBay, but keep an eye out. Hopefully you can find one that is reasonably priced, and I would recommend that if you could. Also, this mask trio, the reissue in 2012, was featured in Lee Lambert's great book, The Illustrated History of Don Post Studios. Here is that page from Lee's book, where you can see this trio of masks released in 2000, or actually not released, I should say, in 2012, but produced in 2012, the year that Don Post Studios closed. So these are actually unreleased masks. Again, I'm sort of skipping over the history of the skull mask per se, but I did want to just take a look at this mask as part of the 2012 mask trio. So that is the 2012 Don Post Glow Skull Mask. As always, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.